In June 2025, a silent crisis reached a breaking point when one of America's largest manufacturing plants shut down without warning, leaving thousands unemployed overnight. This was not an isolated failure. It was the final signal of a deeper collapse that has been building for decades. Why are factories across the United States being abandoned at an accelerating rate? And why are billion-dollar industrial facilities being left to rust instead of being rebuilt? In this investigation, we are going to uncover the economic forces behind America's industrial decline, expose the policies that accelerated it, and reveal why modern manufacturing is no longer designed to stay in America. The story begins with the rise of American industry. For most of the 20th century, the United States was the world's manufacturing powerhouse. Cities like Detroit, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland were built around steel, automobiles, and heavy machinery. These factories did not just produce goods. They created stable jobs, middle-class wealth, and entire communities. At its peak, American manufacturing employed over 19 million workers. These were not temporary jobs. They were lifelong careers with pensions, benefits, and security. But that stability came at a cost. By the late 1990s, global competition began to change everything. Companies discovered they could manufacture the same products overseas at a fraction of the cost. Labor was cheaper, regulations were lower, and production could be scaled faster. What started as a cost-saving strategy quickly became a complete shift in how businesses operated. Factories that had been running for decades were suddenly no longer profitable. Instead of modernizing them, companies shut them down. Entire production lines were dismantled and shipped overseas. The machines were removed, the lights were turned off, and the buildings were left behind. What remained were empty shells of what used to be the backbone of the American economy. This was not just about saving money. It was about survival in a global market. But the consequences were catastrophic. When a factory shuts down, it does not just affect the workers inside it. It destroys the entire local economy. Small businesses close. Property values collapse. Tax revenue disappears. Schools and infrastructure begin to decline. This is how industrial cities become ghost towns. But outsourcing is only part of the story. The second force driving this collapse is automation. Modern factories no longer need thousands of workers. Machines, robotics, and artificial intelligence have replaced entire sections of the workforce. A factory that once required 5,000 employees can now operate with less than 500. From a business perspective, this is efficiency. From a societal perspective, it is displacement. And unlike outsourcing, these jobs are not coming back. The third and most overlooked factor is regulation. Over the past 2 decades, environmental and operational regulations have increased the cost of running industrial facilities in the United States. While these regulations are designed to improve safety and sustainability, they also make domestic production more expensive compared to other countries. For many companies, the math is simple: build overseas or shut down entirely. As a result, new factories are rarely built to last. Modern industrial facilities are designed for flexibility, not longevity. They are optimized for short-term efficiency, rapid scaling, and quick shutdowns if market conditions change. This means the idea of a factory operating for 50 years in one location is becoming obsolete. Instead, production moves wherever it is cheapest at any given time. This is why we are seeing a rise in abandoned industrial sites across America. Massive buildings filled with rusting equipment, broken windows, and empty floors. These are not ancient ruins. Many of them were fully operational just a decade ago. So why are companies not coming back to rebuild them? Because the system no longer rewards permanence. The modern economy is built on mobility. Capital moves, production moves, jobs move. The only thing that stays behind is the infrastructure that is no longer needed. And once a factory is abandoned, bringing it back to life is almost impossible. The cost of renovation is high. The surrounding economy is already weakened, and the workforce that once supported it has often moved on. This creates a cycle of decline that is difficult to reverse. So what does this mean for the future of American industry? You have 2 realities. The first is that large-scale manufacturing will continue to exist, but with fewer workers and more automation. These facilities will be cleaner, more efficient, and far less dependent on human labor. The second is that the era of stable long-term industrial jobs is largely over. The factories are not just disappearing. They are being replaced by a completely different system, one that values efficiency over stability and flexibility over permanence. And that is why across the United States, billion-dollar industrial facilities are being left behind to decay. Not because they failed, but because the system they were built for no longer exists. In the next investigation, we will uncover what happens to these abandoned factories after they are shut down and how some of them are being repurposed in ways that reveal the future of the American economy.